Hey guys, so for this video, I'm doing something different and talking about my 605-day progression on keyboard and mouse. I know that's a weirdly specific number, but I did the math from when I started back in June of 2018, and until now, that is exactly 605 days. In the past, I made one video kinda like this about transitioning from console to PC, but that was focused a lot more on tips and tricks rather than my progression itself. That's why for this one, I'm not only going to include what I did to improve and get better, but I'm also going to talk about how my YouTube channel grew alongside my skill level. So I hope you're all ready to get a bit nostalgic as we look back through the seasons to see my personal progression on keyboard and mouse. By now, most of you guys know I started playing Fortnite on console. The first time I ever played was on my friend's PS4 in December of 2017, and from that point on, I was hooked. I remember I literally got home and sold my brother's PS4 just so I could play on it during my winter break from college. Then after that ended, I actually went out and bought my own PS4 to bring back to school. Fast forward a few months to maybe May of 2018, and I started to think about switching to keyboard and mouse. I'd been watching a ton of TSM Hamlin's and Myth streams, and I just felt like I was being held back on controller. Not in the sense that I was so good I needed a new challenge, more so in the sense that I had great game sense, but my mechanics had plateaued. So in June, while working a full-time job, I said screw it and bought a keyboard and mouse. I did not have a PC yet, and I actually did not plan on getting one until I graduated in a year, which looking back, I'm so glad I did not do that. Back to when I first switched over though, and I was a complete bot. Moving around was hard on WASD, editing was hard because I tried to use Z to edit for some reason, and aiming was hard as well since I had zero experience. Plus, because there was no creative mode, I had to grind in playgrounds to get used to my keybinds. That may not sound that bad until you realize there wasn't unlimited wood or brick, and I had to farm for all the mats I was gonna use. Regardless, I was having fun and slowly getting a feel for mouse and keyboard. A few weeks after that, I did what I said before and purchased a bunch of parts to build a PC. I had money from the office job I was working at, and I just thought to myself, why not? So I got my brother to build my PC using a mini ITX case that I could bring back and forth to my university. This was around July of 2018 when I was still a complete bot, but also when I got my first big break on YouTube. A video I made about stretched res started to gain some traction and get my channel off its feet. Even though it only got a few hundred views at that point, it was the start of my channel and the It's Jarian you guys know today. Moving on to August of 2018, and I was finally becoming a more confident player. My game felt amazing on PC and on stretched res, my mechanics had improved a ton from switching my edit key to C, and my game sense was top tier from watching streamers, yet I was still afraid to play pubs. I kid you not, all I played was 50 vs 50 when not 1v1ing my friends. Why, you may ask? Well, mainly because I was scared of ruining my KD. I know that may sound stupid because it is, and it actually stunted my improvement, but that's the honest truth. From there, another month went by and I finally stopped being a wuss and started to play pubs again on PC. To be a little more specific, I grinded squads with my brother, my cousin that you guys all know of, Kazaki, and then my boy It's Chrome, who gave me the idea for my name. The only really memorable thing that happened that month was killing Cypher PK and Tim the Tatman. Definitely go check that video out if you have not watched it. It's actually really funny because both of their chats and them thought I was the NBA player Jarian Grant. Both of them, especially Cypher, were really good back then, so to have them gas me up like they did was pretty sick. October 2018 was more of the same. I was grinding squads with my friends, playgrounds to improve my building, and had finally started to focus on my solo gameplay. This is something a lot of people overlook, mainly because of how boring solos are. They think that playing the game a lot, even if it's squads or duos with your friends, will make them better. Obviously it will, but not at the same rate as solos where everything depends on you. Anyways, when November rolled around, I was in full competitive player mode. I was sweating in every game mode I tried out. I was also using 1280 by 1080 as my in-game res, and all I did was play Fortnite. On top of that, my goal was not to become a YouTuber or a streamer. I wanted to be a pro player. That's why if you look back at my uploads, they were mainly montages and videos about killing streamers. There were some tips and tricks, however, those were for all the viewers who came over for my stretched res vid. That video finally started to gain some traction again in November and got me to over 1,000 subscribers. Still, my aspirations were to be the best. Therefore, in December, I downloaded Kovacs and finally started to aim train. My aim had always been my biggest weakness and what I felt was holding me back the most. I remember I was playing in the Winter Royale of 2018 and I lost a fight to Nosh, all because I could not hit my shots. So to improve it, I would sit on Kovacs for about an hour or two each day, doing ascended tracking V2. I did that for probably 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and I saw a ton of improvement in my aim and overall mouse control. January 2018 though is where it starts to get interesting. This was gonna be my final winter break in college, as I was a senior graduating in May, and it was basically my last shot at making Fortnite my career. After a ton of thinking and just being honest with myself, I decided to halt my dream of becoming a pro and to instead grind out tips and tricks videos. Most of the ones I uploaded before did pretty well, and they were actually pretty fun to make. So I went from making 1 montage per week to 3 tutorials, and luckily for me, it paid off big time. My Turtle Wars video exploded, my aim training video was getting recommended a ton as well, and my YouTube was poppin'. I went from getting a few thousand views per video to almost 100,000 on everything I uploaded. Your boy Jarian was hitting the algorithm hard. Back to the point of this video though, and in February, I kept on improving on keyboard and mouse. I would pretty much only play solos during this time period since my friends no longer played the game. The good thing that came out of that though was I could finally see what I needed to work on. No longer was it my aim, it was my building and editing. I had my edit key on C, which I hit with my index finger, and I had my cone on X, which I also hit with my index finger. Factor in that I was and still am using F for floor, and that means I had 3 major binds on 1 finger. Not good at all. I think the reason I didn't change them yet was because optimal binds were not that popular. For whatever reason it was, I was slowly hitting a plateau with my mechanics. March 2019 was pretty uneventful regarding my progression. I continued to only play solos and not practice in creative like I should have. My YouTube channel, on the other hand, was going nuclear. This video on why you're not improving got over 1 million views in 2 days, and I reached my longtime goal of 100,000 subscribers. After that, another month went by with the same outcome as March. My gameplay was not improving because of my mechanics, while my YouTube channel kept getting more views and more subscribers. The only memorable event during April was that Epic removed stretched res, #rest in peace. Then May came along with some big changes. I changed my edit key to E, my interact key to scroll wheel up, and my cone to left alt. I think I technically changed them back in April, it's just I didn't get good on them until a few weeks later. Regardless, I was finally seeing some improvement in my building and editing. Hitting E was so much easier than hitting C to edit, and not having my cone on my index finger helped a lot as well. The other big change that month was I graduated from college and went full-time into content creation. It took a lot of convincing, even though I had my degree and I was making way more than any full-time job I was offered, but I somehow went from a college kid to a Fortnite YouTuber. In June of 2019, I again changed my cone keybind, this time from left alt to my other mouse button. You're most likely wondering why I didn't do that earlier, since optimal keybinds were a thing and becoming more popular, and my answer is because of my weird mouse grip. Back then, I had always held my mouse from really low down, meaning I could not hit my front mouse button. So what I did was I got a new mouse, the Model O, and I started to grip it up higher. My aim definitely suffered a little bit at first, but I got used to it and my mechanics started to improve even faster than before. Oh, and I almost forgot, I upgraded to a 240Hz monitor, which instantly made me a better player. I'm gonna skip a few months since nothing interesting happened in July or August outside of the Fortnite World Cup. I guess the only important thing I started to do was grind creative. I know that's pretty simple, but it's something I never had time to do while grinding videos in college, and as you saw before, was a big reason my mechanics were butt cheeks. Therefore, I would just go into a blank creative world like I do now, free build, learn retakes, and other stuff to make my mechanics smoother and faster. Following that, September was when I really found my stride as the game started to focus more around box fighting. I had never been that good at build fights because I didn't practice them, and that was always the meta. So when box fights came around, I was way better because of my game sense and of course my zero ping. October 2019 is when Chapter 2 dropped, which is pretty weird to think about since we're still in the same season in February 2020. Still, I love Chapter 2 and truly believe it saved Fortnite, even though at the moment it is very boring. Back to the gameplay and everything about it felt fresh and new. Plus, the lack of mobility helped me out a lot since I've always been a high game sense player. You had to make smart rotations and take smart fights in order to win games. That leaves us off where we are today, eagerly waiting the new season. I know the second half of my progression was kinda fast, but to be honest, nothing really happened in it. I changed my cone and wall keybinds around, kept consistently posting YouTube videos, surpassed 500,000 subscribers, and spent a lot more time in creative. Remember boys, I'm not a competitive or a pro player, I simply don't have enough time to be one while making YouTube videos, but I do think I'm kinda decent at the game. I hope you guys agree and see that it's not impossible to get better and improve as long as you put the time in and work both smart and hard. Also, I heard subscribing does make you better. Overall guys, that's my 605-day progression on keyboard and mouse, as well as a tiny look into how I became a full-time YouTuber. So if you guys enjoyed the video, then do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone using code Jarian. Send me any pictures you have of you using my code and I'll be sure to shout you out. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.